Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. Apologies about last week, I was a little bit too busy and I couldn't get any videos out. This week, however, it looks like I'm free reign, so I'm going to try and make up for last week and you'll get an extra 2 videos this week, hopefully. And it's time for me to re-look at the tier maker. A lot of people have been asking this, they are outdated, they're a year old. Since I think I've done them, we've had the AA change. We've had, there was the other change as well, which I can't remember off the top of my head. We've had the heal change. There's been like quite a few things moving about. So this needs updating. So yeah, well, let's jump straight into it. And we'll start S and just work our way down. So S tier, this Carillion Special is still up there. It's still the best dodge rate frigate in the game. It's still going to tank that front line fantastically for you. Nothing really changed with it. The Noma support as well, it's, if anything, it's even better now. The heal change means it's even more viable to run support for mid to late game. And even late game, if you have the right setup, the right ships, Spears Uranus, ST-59, things like Noma support can just keep them on the table for a lot longer, which is actually really nice. So support's definitely better. Reliant Stealth is definitely up there still, being the pretty much the primo mid-row frigate tank. It doesn't really have anything competes. Yeah, you could argue the Reliant Energy Torp is up there, but it doesn't have anywhere near as much dodge rate as the Reliant Stealth, although the Reliant Stealth trades the damage off of that. System damage being a little bit better now as well, so I think the Reliant Stealth stays. The Ruby Ion Cannon, right, I'm moving it down to bottom of A. It's not dealing as much damage as the Mayoress anti-ship. It's definitely not doing as well as the Reliant Energy Torp. And its AA got a slight nerf, oddly. So when I was testing the Ruby out, and especially the Ruby Ion, as my mid-row anti-air frigate previously, you could get respectable damage out of it, and it'll do okay. Since the AA change, it's not hitting home as well as it used to, which is a bit unfortunate. So yeah, Ruby Ion down to A. It's still got decent damage output. Don't get me wrong, the AA is okay, but it's not doing what it used to, or as much AA damage as it used to. So that's why it's going down to A tier. Now the Xeno Special is definitely staying back up in S tier. Well, it is by far like the highest damage dealing frigate. Nothing competes with it. The only issue is, yes, it's still got, pretty squidgy armor. It does seem to get primaried a little bit quicker than other frigates. So they do get knocked off the board a little bit quicker most of the time, but it's still, if you've got it, you should be running it. It's that good. Moving down to the A tier, obviously we've got the Ruby. The Mayoress anti-ship and the Reliant Energy Torp, I am just going to swap these around like so. The Reliant Energy Torp does do a better damage dealing mid to late game, and that's going to be more important now than ever before, mostly due to the healing increases due to armor, so bigger ships are more likely to be seen, which I'm not complaining about. It does mean we get to see better cruisers, and it's going to make doing the tier for the cruisers a little bit more interesting. So Reliant Energy Torp, Mayoress, I think they're in good positions. I think they are the top of A, with the Reliant Energy Torp being the very top. Its damage output is better than the Mayoress in my opinion now. And yeah, energy damage is always useful. We're seeing big armor fleets coming about, so you're going to need that energy damage as much as possible. Moving on to B, we have the Carillion Heavy Cannon, the Reliant Anti-Ship, the Ruby Railgun, and the Xeno AA. The Carillion Heavy Cannon, it's either the very top of B or the very bottom of A, and the reason's not because of its damage, but because of its flagship skill. That flagship skill that it has, which allows like targeting when on a flank, is really quite a strong strategy. I'm gonna consider, I think, bottom of B now. It does amazingly well. Highly recommend checking out the Carillion Heavy Cannon. The Jaeger Heavy Cannon also has this skill, flagship skill. You stick it in your flank fleet, which is like a pure high damage fleet, and as soon as it gets on that flank, it just like single targets out like 2-3 ships, and all your fleet fire at those 2 or 3 ships. It can just muller people in seconds. It's amazing. Definitely check that one out. Relia anti-ship, I still think it's B tier. It hasn't got the damage, and it hasn't got the damage of the energy torp. It hasn't got the dodge rate of the Relia stealth. So I still think that's staying in B. Ruby railgun, tempted to move it down to C. I think it's going to go down to the bottom of B tier. It's just not quite as viable as pretty much everything above it, and the more that you actually play around with it, the AA is not particularly good, and the actual railgun isn't fantastic either. It has hit rate problems. There is hit rate upgrades on it, but it's not enough. Potentially maybe in some kind of support capacity where you have it supported to increase its hit rate, you might see a bit more use out of it, but I just don't see it working particularly well at the moment. The Xeno AA, is it the top of A? Is it S? Do we go S? Is it both S for Xeno variants? The Xeno AA is the best still anti-aircraft frigate in the game. It struggles a little bit against fighters, but it will absolutely and utterly murder T-800s, and even more so now. Yeah, Xeno AA. I like that. I think it's going to S. Then moving on to C tier, we got some stuff moving around, and this is where a lot of the stuff where we've got AA variants and that kind of thing, where it didn't matter so much because they didn't do anything before, they'll start getting moved around from C tiers into Bs and As and that kind of thing. So, the Mer SAA is staying in C tier. It's going to stay at the top of C tier. I did test it out. I wasn't particularly impressed with its damage output against aircraft. So I'm just gonna, I just don't think it moves. It's gonna be one of the few ones that I probably don't move from here. MERS missiles, again, its damage output, okay. It's not particularly good. If you've got the base one, you're gonna get more damage output out of it, so just use that. The MER-T energy is going up to the bottom of A tier. It's by far one of the better AA ships, even though there is an AA MER-T, the energy just outperforms it in every aspect. So it's going up to A tier. If you are looking for a mid-row or back-row anti-aircraft ship, the MER-T will have you covered, and quite literally, it does pretty reasonable damage. Like before the patch, I had a battle with a guy, and he ran this in his back row, and it got like 90,000 AA damage in about 1.5 minutes. It's now you're doing even better than that after the AA patch, and you're expecting like really good numbers out of this thing if they are going for your back row. And you know, if you're not running super carriers, super capitals except carriers that are in your back row, well, the MER-T, you know, has you covered there. Or in the mid-row, so you're running only your solar whales, you've got no spears out or ST-59s or anything on the front. MER-T in the mid-row, devastating. Really, really good in that position. Definitely have a look at the MER-T energy when you get a chance. MER-T integrated. Unfortunately, it didn't do particularly well in testing. Its AA capability I was hoping would be better because it's got mostly missiles. And missiles seem to just do better against aircraft. Missiles and energy turrets are what you're looking for. Just standard cannons aren't particularly great. So the MER-T integrated, unfortunately, I am not going to be moving that as well. Similar sort of issue to the MER-S missile, which is a bit unfortunate, really, because I was kind of looking forward to seeing some more missile ships about. Ruby Defensive is going to move up to B tier. It's tempting to actually put it ahead of the Ruby Railgun, and that's mostly due to the fact that although it doesn't have the damage output, now with the heal changes and maybe potentially adding support ships in, it gets quite a lot of healing, like hell of a lot of healing. You run armor on this instead of taking the extra HP, and like you're boosting your own healing up. It's kind of fun. Yeah, they can stick around for a long time. Definitely have a look at the Ruby defensives if you get a chance. I think I am going to put it again above the Railgun. It is moving up to B tier. D tier, we have the FG300 Armoured. It's probably going to stay there. The Armoured one, albeit, yes, it gets extra healing because of support and how healing and armor works together now. It's just, it hasn't got the armor really there. So yeah, I'd ignore that. FG300 multi-role, same thing really. Well, not the same thing, it's just without the armor, so it's not really there. And the Toilet AA. It's terrible. I don't know why, but none of the support ships that have, like the Noma AA, the Meren AA, all the UAV AA, Expar the Xenos, still doesn't seem to quite adequately add up. It's maybe possibly C tier now, like the back end of C tier or the top end of D tier. But yeah, it's just, it's not good enough. Merti AA is going up to B tier. Again, with the AA buff, it's actually doing reasonable AA now. It's not as good as the Merti. If you've got the Merti Energy, run that instead of the AA. But it is better than the integrated in most instances I've found so far. We have the Noma AA. This suffers from the same fate as the Mer-N, so I'm going to put it at the top of D tier as well. They are probably better than running FG300s. They can do some AA, but don't expect them to do any heavy lifting at all, whereas you can expect things like the Xeno AA, the Mer-T Energy, to actually do some serious anti-damage. Situational stays pretty much exactly the same. We have the Carillion Recon, the FG300 Recon. They are by far your two best, well, the ones that you can build, two best ones for Recon. Just get them out, they're quick, they're fast. Obviously, you know, we have the Noma survey ship, or whatever it's called. That is, you know, the best one, but you have to dock up to an outpost to grab hold of that and that kind of thing, and I don't cover those in these because you can't upgrade them and all sorts of stuff, so that stays off this list. Meren Siege and Noma Siege, again, situational. They are useless in every situation, except for when you are sieging down outposts and bases and that kind of thing. And their added siege damage does come in a little bit handy there. And they do both get, you know, pretty decent movement speed. So you can put these in very fast fleets with like Ruby defensives out front just to quickly siege. Well, I say quickly, it'll take a while, but you'll siege down an outpost without any losses. So yeah, they are definitely staying in situational. So that is the frigates. I will be now jumping over and hopefully recording the destroyers today as well. And then that's 2 videos done. And I just need the cruisers, and I guess we'll start moving into fighters after the cruisers. So, hope you've enjoyed this. This is the updated version of my tier list for the frigates. I hope you find this useful, and I've changed it around a bit so everything's a bit bigger. I'm hoping you can all read it now. So yeah, do let me know in the comments what you think. I hope this will be hopefully out tomorrow. Today's Monday. I think it's Monday. If it is, then yeah, Tuesday this will come out. Wednesday I will have the destroyers out. Thursday will be the cruisers, and Friday either the corvettes or the frigates. Let me down in the comments below which ones you prefer, the frigates or the corvettes. The corvettes or the fighters on your Friday video. I will try and get whichever one gets the most votes out for that day. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.